With us today, we have two gentlemen who will tell us about a real improv theater company just arrived in Brooklyn from Chicago. It's called Annoyance Theatre, and with us are its New York Director of Education, Philip Markle.
Hi.
Welcome. Hey,
thanks
for joining us today. Yes. And Christian Capozzoli, an instructor there.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Guys, improv, Annoyance Theatre, tell us a little bit about how long you guys have been around and what you've been doing.
Great. Well, the Annoyance Theatre has been around for 25 years now, and it has existed only in Chicago up until this point. It started 25 years ago as a place that was sort of a home for a comedy that you couldn't do elsewhere, that people said, this is against the rules, you can't put this on stage. And headed up by Mick Napier, who is our artistic director, they went on to create a philosophy of improv and creating content that led to shows that were running throughout Chicago, like Manson the Musical, That Darned Antichrist, The Real Live Brady Bunch, and then their signature show, Co-Ed Prison Sluts, that were created out of improv and created comedy that was, you couldn't see that elsewhere.
Excellent.
With the goal of having people see stuff and not walk out of the theater because it was too offensive, but protecting the content in a way that made it enjoyable and exciting for all to see.
That's great. Well, it sounds like it's working.
The question remains then, so you have this great run in Chicago, why move to Brooklyn?
Well, I think coming to New York has been a long dream for the Annoyance. They did a show here in the 90s that I mentioned called The Real Live Brady Bunch, which was sort of a hit for them at the time. And many people from that went on to have careers in the New York comedy scene, et cetera. But I think coming to Brooklyn specifically was, well, Mick would tell you he just wanted to come here because he wanted to listen to the best bands in the world, and those are in Brooklyn. That's the reason he wants to do Brooklyn.
You don't need a real reason, it's Brooklyn.
But we've always wanted to come to New York, and we felt like Manhattan has such a strong, awesome presence of improv theaters and comedy institutions between UCB, the Bright Citizens Brigade, the Magnet Theater, and the People's Improv Theater, and that we wanted to offer something that there was no established theater and training center in Brooklyn. So we looked at that, and it's sort of fitting the vibe of the Annoyance being this, place to do edgy content. We thought it would be a good fit.
Wow, awesome. Mick Napier is the founder of the Annoyance Theatre, and we have his book here too, Improvised Scene from the Inside Out. What does this book go into? What does it entail?
So all of our training is based on Mick's book, which was sort of him taking a step back from what at time was called the rules of improv in Chicago. People said things like, don't ask questions in scenes, and you need to do the who, what, where in order to establish your scene at the top. And Mick sort of took a step back and said, okay, so we have scenes where people ask questions and it's not very interesting. But sometimes people can ask questions in scenes and it's fantastic. So what's actually behind that? And he saw 8,000 improv scenes and developed a philosophy that was really about two things at the top of a scene. Entering with something that we call your deal. It can be an emotion, can be a point of view. It's a thing that is going to be your guide through the scene. And then holding on to that deal no matter what happens.
Great.
Meaning you can become the most powerful, confident, fearless improviser by holding on to the first thing you do, and you don't have to worry about a thing. And we're gonna take a look. We're going to ask you for a suggestion so that this is truly improvised.
Okay.
Go for it.
Panda bears.
Panda bears. Christian's going to initiate with a feeling at the top of the scene.
Oh, aren't they just adorable? They're just two little black and white bears.
I'm so sorry, Christian. I'm so sorry to tell you this. They're leaving the exhibit today.
No.
Yes, they're going away.
Why would they do that? They love each other.
I know they do, but they also are going to love San Diego.
Oh, no, they can't. What will I do for my Sundays? I just come here and I write fan fiction about these two pandas.
Well,
I love them so much.
I know you do. And you're going to have to go to San Diego if you want to follow them.
No.
Yes.
But they've come to love my butterscotch gifts. I give them a little Werther's Original.
Yes, and one of them got poisoning.
Oh, I know, but he loved it. Oh, he licked at his paws. He just savored every butterscotchy moment.
I don't want to say this, but you're part of the reason they're moving.
No, me?
Yes, you.
But I love them dearly. I love them more than my children.
Well, your children are going to San Diego also.
What?
And scene. Is that how it goes?
So in that scene, Christian established by saying how much he loves these bears. And at the Annoyance, we say that the first thing you're going to do is yes and yourself above all. So no matter what I do to Christian in the scene, we want him to hold on to his point of view. So I challenged him in that scene by telling him, the bears are leaving. What I need is for Christian to hold on to his love of the bears. He loves these bears to the end of the world. So even when I tell him he's been a bad influence on these bears and he's the reason they're leaving, well, he just loves them even more because he's poisoning them with butterscotch.
Poison them with love. Yeah.
Right.
Poisoning them with love. Whereas sometimes we could, to yes and my idea of the bears are leaving, drop the first thing he said, which was his love of the bears.
Because people want agreement, they think that's what's going to make a great scene, and so they'll sometimes they'll both jump ship, and then they drown together slowly instead of holding on to what you originally had and like just keep paddling next to each other and ratcheting up, like heading in the same direction. I like thinking of the metaphor of one person kind of plants a flag in the ground, the other person like blows the wind through that flag, and you head in that direction together. That way you're building off of each other's gifts instead of just kind of like abandoning what you had in order to have agreement, but neutering your scene in the process.
Excellent.
Isn't fun.
Now, the Annoyance Theatre, where do people sign up for classes, and where do they check out performances?
So the website is www.theannoyance.com/NYC, and we have classes that are running currently. There's openings offering in February and March. We are hoping to have a theater space. That's the dream out here eventually. Right now, we're just offering the classes until we can have a graduating class.
Now, who are the classes for?
The classes for really, I mean, to go back to what Christian said earlier, I think anybody. Because I think improv is life skills and good people skills. So even if you're not wanting to be a professional improviser comedian, you can take these classes and get a huge amount of life lessons in confidence and withholding judgment and playing like you were a kid again.
And some people that have been involved in the Annoyance Theatre include, you were saying, Stephen Colbert, Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch, Amy Sedaris.
Oh, I love her.
Andy Richter, all these people
Love
that
him,
were
too.
involved and did sort of a lot of great work at the Annoyance back in the
You
day.
love being annoyed.
I do. Everybody check out the website. Thank you guys very much. We're gonna, everyone's gonna check out classes. You guys were great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. We do appreciate you.
Absolutely.